This is Cheswick. He's the one that I rescued from a fighting ring, but before I do anything else I want to show you his feet. Because, well, come here, dude. These little bits right here, those are feathers, just right in between his toe, little tiny feathers. They don't get any bigger than that. He's got it on both feet. Okay, turn around. There we go, sit down. He's very vocal. He likes to complain about everything. And his eye, that little point right over here, see that point? The vet says that's just a birth defect. But when I first got him, all of his feathers were broken. They're all broken. His belly was shaved, his spurs were filed down to points, and he was terrified of all the other birds. And a man in a van just drive up to me and ask, "You want a chicken?" And I said, "Sure." And he says, "I'll take this one, I don't want it." And he pulled over, opened up the back of his van. Sure enough, there's a chicken there. So I picked him up, I took him out, and I asked him, "How old is he?" The guy says, "About a year." So where'd he come from? He says, "Oh, my uncle in Rochester just gave him to me, and I stud out purebreds, and I don't know what he is. There's no use to me." And that's all he said before he got in his car and drove away. "Take it, I don't want it." And it wasn't until I got him home that I realized he'd been in a fighting ring. I took him to my vet, who confirmed. 2 months. It took him 2 months, and I went to a friend's house. Her backyard is closed off from the side yard, which is also closed off from the other side in the front. And in the evening, she lets her girls out in the front yard, so I let him out in the side yard, and I hadn't had him with any other chickens before this. I had him leashed off in a separate area, so he could get used to the sounds and whatnot, but there was a band of 13 babies that would join him very frequently. They weren't all leashed up, and they didn't stay on the other side, because they were babies, so they were exploring. And they would play with him, and I guess since they were babies, they weren't so scary, but when they first surrounded him, he stood stock still. He didn't know what to do, and then he jumped up in the air and screamed and flapped, and that was it. And he still did that from time to time, but the babies would just scatter for a little bit before coming back. He did not know what sun was. He did not know what dirt was. He did not know what grass was. If food was in a bowl, he'd eat it, but as soon as I dumped it out, he had no idea what it was. He'd just stare at it. When those babies came around, they started eating the food, then he got up and started pecking at it and seeing what it was. And he watched them sunbathe, he watched them dust bathe before he figured it out. So at my friend's house, he's in the side yard. Dirk, Lightning, and Bo are in the backyard. And he sees Dirk through the fence and charges the fence, and I'm thinking, oh no, they're gonna fight. And Dirk throws his hackle feathers up, which is this. Chickens do this when they're fighting. And then Cheswick skidded to a stop like he didn't know what that was. And a lot of times in fighting birds, they'll just try to get them to fight and forego any formalities like that. So, soon enough, Dirk started making a noise. It's the chicken noise for saying that there's good food around. And oh, it's okay, sweetheart. He would grab a piece of food, pick it up, and toss it through the fence. And he tossed another piece of food, and another, until Cheswick started eating with him, and Dirk sat there, tossing food to Cheswick. So I went and I grabbed Dirk, and I brought him into the side yard, and Cheswick ran up right behind him. And he's got his belly to the ground, he's got his head stretched out. And as soon as Dirk turns around to look at him, Cheswick's on the other side of the yard, just ran. But when Dirk turned back around, Cheswick was there right behind him again. And they've been best friends ever since. And that's Cheswick's story. If a bird who used to fight in a ring can make it this far, none of your chickens out there are too much. None of your chickens are too aggressive. They can all do it. They can all become good chickens. There's no hopeless case. Right, Cheswick? Right? He's a sweetheart today. Wanna go? Wanna go outside? You're free. Once he gets used to sitting on my lap, he doesn't want to go anywhere, but when I'm trying to catch him, there he goes. When I'm trying to catch him, it's almost impossible. And there he's mingling with everybody else just fine. And there's his best friend Dirk. Right there. Making that noise that made them friends. And here comes Lauren.